Hey you guys, Laura here, and today I'll be taking you through a short active recovery workout. All right, so like I mentioned, today is going to be an active recovery workout. So whether today is your active rest day from running or cycling, or whether you're just looking for a gentle workout to do today, this is going to be your spot to find that. We're going to do a whole body workout, and it will be a workout in that you'll feel some of your muscles are working, but we're also going to be doing some active flexibility, some active mobility training, and it's going to be great for just lengthening your body, helping you to create space within your spine, within your joints. So go ahead and grab your mat and meet me seated on it just like this. So you're going to start in a crisscross applesauce position, and I want you to just take a big inhale and lift your arms up to the sky. Exhale as you open out to the sides and push the air down towards the ground. And we go again. Big inhale, filling up the rib cage, and exhale, press the arms out to the side. We're going to do that 3 more times. Big in, exhale to the sides, big in. Feel yourself get longer, and last time, big in, and exhale out. Awesome. Now this time we're just going to keep our arms up, but one of them is going to come down as we stretch over to the side. Notice how your opposite hip is going to want to press downwards so that you can really maximize that side body stretch, and then come right back up. And again, over, we're switching sides, and then right back upwards towards the center. So one hand will always be bicep by your ear as you come over into that side bend lateral flexion. You want to be anchoring your opposite hip, so the one that's going the opposite way of the arm, onto the mat so that you can get that side body stretch through your obliques, maybe a little bit into your hips, and you're trying to keep those knees from popping upwards towards the sky. You think that your spine gets longer, so we take into account what we did in the last breathing exercise to help you side bend over. We're going to do one more to our right side, one more to our left side, and then we're going to change. This time, we're going to take one hand across our body as we twist and take both arms up to the sky. Right hand to left knee and twist. You give yourself a little push to help exaggerate that twist, and then up. Notice how my shoulder stays down and away from my ear though as I use my leg to help me go into that rotation. So I'm not shrugging, I'm not shrinking down, I'm really lengthening to my spine to help create space in my back, and also make that rotation come more from my thoracic than coming from my hip lifting up, coming from folding forward. It's crossing that transverse plane. We're going to do one more to the right. Both arms up, lengthened. Both arms up to the left. And then we're going to switch to a quadruped position. So quadruped is just going to be on all fours here. So I'm going to take my hands right underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to bring my knees to about hip width so that they're underneath my hip bones. Your feet, your choice of whether they're tucked under or flat. I find that flat challenges the balance a little bit more. We're going to work opposite arm, opposite leg are going to reach out and tap the mat. Up and touch the mat. We're lifting from the hamstring and glute, lifting from the shoulder blade as the bicep comes up towards the ear. And even though we're lifting up to the sky, we imagine that someone has a hold on our wrist, on our ankle bone, to help generate length across the horizon. And then we're switching to the opposite side. You also want to imagine that the belly is pulling into your back here, trying to stabilize the spine through the core as we're finding that length through our fingertips all the way towards our toes. We're opening through the front of the thigh, opening through the front of the hip as the leg lifts up, and opening through the front of the chest as the arm lifts up. One more for 10. Both hands to the floor, both knees to the floor. We're going to round through an angry cat and then pass through our cow and open up the chest. Tuck the chin to chest, round the spine. Make sure you also round from that lower back, not just that middle back. And then lengthen. Big inhale. Pulling that belly button to spine again and feeling like the ribs are connecting towards one another as you pass through that angry cat position. As you lengthen, you want to see how open you can get your chest. How much can you connect to the backside of your underarms to squeeze your shoulder blades together to flare your collar line open? Last one here. We're going to find neutral spine, so that's somewhere in between that cat and that cow. We're going to go back to opposite hand, opposite leg in the sky, but now this time you're going to bring elbow to knee and then reach it out. Elbow to knee, and then reach it out. So now remember, I said your foot could be flat or your toes could be tucked under. So if you're having a hard time with balance, choose that tucked under position, and you'll have a little bit more support through your foot. But mostly we want to rely on your side glute to help keep you balanced here. Belly pulling into the back so that you feel like it's your lower abs that are drawing that knee to chest. Last one. Hand and knee down, switching to the opposite side. Your arm that's stabilizing you, you're pulling that shoulder down your back. So you're trying to keep your shoulder out of your ear. We're mobilizing the spine here, trying to open up the lower back as that knee pulls in to that hip flexion position. Lengthening through the backside of the leg so you can stretch through that hip flexor. Last one for 10. Both hands and knees down, and sink back into your child's pose position. All right, we're going to switch back to a seated position, and I want you to have your knee bones bent for what we call our half roll back. So heels are to the ground, hands are going to be reaching forward. Can you try to sit up as tall as you can? If you feel any tightness to the front of your hips, you can always scoot your feet a little bit further away from you. Reach out. Sit tall. You want to lead from your lower abdominals to try to pull the lower back downwards towards the mat. Find a spot that you can hold and maintain, and then tuck your chin to your chest and roll up to a flat back again. Lower abs, pelvic tilt. You tuck to roll backwards, and then use the upper abdominals. Come up to that seated position. And again, so what I find for a lot of my running clients, they end up becoming really tight in their lower back. So this is a great way to wake up the pelvis, to stretch out that lumbar spine, but still be working through the abdominals, which are really important for helping to support you during your sport. And even if you're not doing this because you play a sport, but you're doing this because you just wanted a lighter workout, really great for those of us that are working from home, being seated for long periods of time, waking up those lower abs that can become weak for sitting for long periods of time. This is 9. And up. Last one here. Shoulders down the back. And up. Feel free to stick with this variation, or straighten your legs and come all the way down to the floor here. You're going to reach your arms up to the sky. Your toes are going to be pointed here. Tuck your chin to your chest and see if you can roll all the way up towards your toes. Flex those feet, stretch towards your feet, and then slowly melt yourself back downwards towards the ground. You're going to point your toes again. So now we're starting to get a little dorsiflexion, plantar flexion in, so we can stretch through the calves and trying to gain a little bit more ankle mobility. Maybe as you go through these roll-ups, you can feel a little stretch in your calves as well as through your hamstrings and through your back. chin to chest. Make sure it's your abdominals here that lead you forward. Stretch. You want to make sure that your ears are not by your arms are not by your ears, but that your shoulders are down your back here. So this is really nice to still focus on that abdominal strength. But like I said, like that half roll up, we're stretching that lower back out. But now we have the added benefit of adding that hamstring flexibility and a little bit of calf flexibility, ankle flexibility as well. Last one here. Keep pulling that belly to spine. The slower you go here, the more work you're going to find in your abdominals. So this is all about precision, being specific with our tempo. Hands down to the mat, and then bend your feet in. So whether you were doing that half roll back or whether you're doing that whole roll up, we're all going to be in this bent knee position, belly to back, hands to the floor. I want you to take one of your legs out onto the horizon. I'll start with my left leg, so it's the one closest to the camera. I want you to take that foot. You're going to point it, lift it upwards towards the sky, flex it, feel that calf stretch, and then bring it downwards towards the floor again. Your right leg, it's acting as if it's going up into a bridge. That's just how much we want that booty turned on, but we're not actually lifted through the hips. Power through your abs, resist downwards through your abdominals as well. So we're trying to keep this work out of the front of the hip and connect to the supporting, stabilizing transverse abdominis. You press down into the ground here so that you're also working on opening up your upper back. Maybe you start to feel a stretch through the front of your chest as gravity is helping to open the shoulders down to the floor. We're doing a little bit of neural flossing as we're working through that point and flex of the foot. Last 3, 2, 1 more. So that transverse abdominis work is very subtle, but you can even put one of your hands or both of your hands onto that inner part of your hip bone. So we have those prominent hip bones right here. Put your hand slightly to the inside to feel your lower abs turn on as the leg pops up, and feel it on as you resist downwards towards the ground. But only do it for a little bit so that you can use that ground as a tactile feedback to help you open up through the backside of your shoulders, through your chest. Especially my cyclists out there. I know how some of you like to grab onto those handlebars. We lean forward, and I want you to open up. We're going for 10 here. I have 7. You can connect that movement to breath, so using that exhale to help you lift the leg up. We're working on hamstring flexibility as well as that neuroflossing. Last one. Bend both feet in here. Both hands anchor into the ground. Now we're in a perfect setup to start our bridge. Heel bones plant into the ground. Lift your hip bones up. Stretch through the front of the thighs. So it's not about the up, but more about that reach. And then slowly articulate. So we're rounding through the spine to come down. Heel bones are grounded. Tuck and round up. Find that reach. We're going to emphasize that each and every time. And then slowly resist it right back down. So for my runners out there, that pelvis takes a lot of shock, right? Every time your foot hits the pavement, all of those muscles that are around the hip pelvic complex, it's working to absorb all of that force with each and every step that we take, especially if we're incorporating a lot of hills into our routine. That's going to be a lot more shock absorption that our hip complex is responsible for. So this articulation of your spine is so good for helping to open up and loosen the muscles that can get tight and knotty from doing all of that work to stabilize us. We're going to do 3 more here. You can feel your glutes and your hamstrings turning on. Really great for those of us that are quad dominant. I'm guilty of that. Last 2. And on our last one, we're going to stay up and lifted. Keep your hip bones up. See if you can walk your feet a little bit closer towards your seat, your bottom. And once again, we're going to roll through the ankles. You're going to lift those heel bones up and lower down. Maybe you even need to roll those heel bones in a little bit more towards your seat. Heel bones lift and lower. Mobilizing through the ankle, working through the calves, seeing if you can stretch your knees, your thighs a little bit more across the room as those ankles come up. Notice too, if you have the tendency to roll a little bit more to one side of your foot, we're going to try to stay even across the pad from big toe to pinky toe. Last 3, 2, and 1. Both heels down and slowly roll down, 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 one bone at a time. Hug the knees into your chest. Look into the between the legs and give yourself a big hug. And then come up to a seated position. We're going to flip over so that we're on our belly button. So we're going to take our belly onto the floor here. And I want you to take your hands so that you have one hand to each shoulder. We're going to take our forehead towards the ground. And here, see if you can settle those shoulders down your back and see how tightly you can get your legs together. You can't separate your legs. That can sometimes be a little bit more comfortable for the lower back. And take whatever position feels better for your body. Ideally, we'd want to engage those inner thighs and bring the legs together. But listen to your body. Go with where it's telling you, because you do not want to feel it in this lower back region, because we've been trying to open it up this whole class. Pull that belly into your back. Activate those legs together, but also long ways, just like we were trying to find that stretch through the front of our thighs. And I want you to slightly press into your hands, pull those shoulders back, and try to lift your chest bone up. Notice, if you take a peek at the camera, I'm not lifting my neck up. I'm trying to really stretch my head forward and lift my sternum up. And then I'm going to slowly lower my head bone down to the ground. And again, slightly press into those hands, open up the chest, lengthen through your back, and then slowly lower down. So I'm feeling this in the back of my shoulders, my upper back. I feel a stretch through the front of my pecs as I come up into what we call a baby swan. Every time I'm trying to make my head grow a little bit longer and away from my toes. So I'm really thinking about that horizontal line that gets a little bit kind of like a half parabola. I don't think that's the right mathematical term for that, but it kind of gives you not a diagonal line, but one that kind of curves upwards. One more here. And then I want to see, can you keep your upper back active, belly pulling into your back, and can you lift those arms up from the floor? So now we're kind of in this field goal-ish position, really opening through the front side of the chest, squeezing those shoulder blades together. And we're going to do a little pulse, squeezing so that the shoulder blades come up and towards your spine, but we're not jamming it. We're not trying to grind that bone to our spine. We're just trying to activate the muscle a little bit deeper. Last 3, 2, and 1. Take your hands to the mat, scoop the belly in, and sink back into a child's pose stretch. Next, we're going to go into our single leg kick. So I'm going to have you still be on your belly button, but now we're going to get into this kind of position where we're reading a book on the beach. Pull those shoulders down your back and imagine that your forearms are pushing into the table. So I'm not sunken down here where my belly is just hanging on the table. I'm pulling that belly into my back, pushing like as if I were going to the top of my push-up, and lengthening my head away from my toes again, just like it did in my swan. I'm going to take one leg. I'm going to stretch that heel into my butt, feel my quad stretch, and then lower down. Other side. Stretch my heel into my butt, and then lower down. So the goal here is to stretch the quad as the heel bone gets closer to your sit bone, to your butt bone. I'm working through my shoulders, helping to open up my upper back as I'm still slightly in that thoracic extension. As I stretch my quad, I can also feel that my hamstring and glute engage to help pull my heel bone into my butt bone. Last 3, 2, and 1. Make sure you're even. Hands to the mat, belly button in, and sink back once again into that child's pose stretch. Come back onto your all fours position. Hands are going to be right underneath your shoulders. Knees are going to be right underneath your hips. Round up into that angry cat. And then come into that happy puppy or into that cow position. Chin to chest, you round. And then chin away from chest. Open up the collar. Round. And then flex. Last 2. We're going to meet in neutral spine, so find somewhere in the middle. And I want you to bring your right ear to your right shoulder, left ear to your left shoulder. So we're keeping our tailbone even, but just trying to stretch the side of our neck as our handprints are still on the ground and our shoulders are still down our back. One more to the right side. One more to the left side. Keep it at your left side. Look downwards, under towards your belly. Bring your right ear to your right shoulder and hold it there. And we go again. So it's like we're trying to draw a smile with our nose or with our chin. Looking down towards our center, right ear to right shoulder. Down to the center, left ear to left shoulder. One more pair. Keeping the shoulders down your back, staying stable through your torso. Find center, and now from here, we're going to take our tail. Wag that tail to the right, so feel that oblique contract. Wag that tail to the left. Keeping your shoulders stable this time, and just trying to move from your seat, from your pelvis, and from the obliques. Still pressing into the ground, keeping those shoulders down your back. We're going to do one more to the right, one more to the left. Tuck your chin into your chest, push the ground away, and see if you can roll up bone by bone into a tall kneeling position. And you are all done. So hopefully you got a nice little sweat on. I know that I got a good glisten on, but you feel open. You got to loosen up some muscles, loosen up some joints. We paid attention to the whole body from your head to your toe. So if you're someone that finds that you're leaning onto your handlebars and scrunching those shoulders up, we really focus on lengthening through the neck, pulling those shoulders down, finding that chest expansion and the thoracic rotation. And same thing for my runners. I know sometimes when you get into those longer distances or you start to get tired, you can get into that same running pattern where the shoulders are scrunching up towards the ears. This helps with that as well. For my cyclists, for my runners, I know those thighs and those hips can get tight, lower back too. We focus on that. So overall, whole body, you should feel so nice and open and refreshed. And especially if you were sore coming into this workout today, you should really feel like things have loosened up and you're a little bit more mobile. It's a little bit easier to move and you don't feel so like ouchie as you're moving around throughout the day. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and give it to a friend. Sharing is caring. And if you have a running buddy, a cycling buddy that you know would enjoy this, go ahead and share this with them. If you know someone that's just starting to get back into working out, go ahead and share this with them. It's a really gentle way to start to get your body moving. And if you want to keep seeing more videos like this, go ahead and subscribe to my page because I put up videos weekly. I'll see you guys next time. Drop a comment in the box. I'd love to hear from you guys. Have a good day.